Is on page 162 of Universal Prayers. The last one on that page, and on continuing on the next page too. It's from the Mahakala Samhita, a prayer to the Divine Mother, describing her glories. And as Sri Ramakrishna said, Divine Mother, whom he used to worship as Kali, is same as Brahman. Jnanis, seeking the path of knowledge, they call the truth Brahman in the Upanishads, and Shaktas, who worship the Divine Mother, as Kali or Durga, or in other forms. And Sri Vidya Upasakas, they're also Shaktas, they worship Shakti, but in the form of Lilita Parameshwari, benign, lovely form of the Divine Mother, described in the Brahmanda Purana. So let us do the prayer, beginning from page 162, the last one. Om Achintyapi Sakara Shakti Swarupa Prativyaktyadishtanat Sattvaika Murtihi Gunatita Nirdvanda Bodhaika Gamya Kameka Parabrahmarupena Siddha Nate Nama Gotre Nate Janma Mrityu Nate Gdhama Cheshte Nate Dukkha Sokhe Nate Mitra Shatru Nate Bandha Mokshau Kameka Parabrahmarupena Siddha Nabala Nachatvam Vayasthana Vriddha Nacha Stri Nashanda Puman Naiva Sattvam Surona Surono Narova Nanari Kameka Parabrahmarupena Siddha Yatha Bimbamekam Raverambarastham Pratichayaya Tavadeko Samudbhasate Nekarupam Tathavat Kameka Parabrahmarupena Siddha. All these stanzas and with the same refrain, Kameka Parabrahmarupena Siddha. O Divine Mother, you are none other than Parabrahman described in the Upanishads. So let me read the translation. O Mother, you are beyond comprehension, yet you are the embodiment of infinite power. You are present everywhere, and your existence is visible in every being. You are beyond all attributes and duality. You are attainable through the highest knowledge alone. You are the one without a second, known as the Supreme Brahman. You have neither name nor lineage, neither birth nor death, neither abode nor activity, friend nor enemy, neither bondage nor freedom. You are the one without a second, known as the Brahman Supreme. You are neither a girl nor a woman, young or old. You are neither masculine nor feminine, neither female nor neuter. You are neither a god nor a demon nor a human being. You are the one without a second, known as the Brahman Supreme. As the one sun, reflected in different pools of water, appears as so many different suns, so you too, O Mother, appear as many through delusion. But still, you are the one without a second, known as the Brahman Supreme. It's a very fine combination of Advaita Vedanta. Only one reality may be thought of as Brahman or as Divine Mother. And that reality has no attributes at all. Cannot say that reality is male or female, young or old, man or woman, No description is possible. Attributeless ultimate reality also worshipped the Divine Mother in her various aspects. So that is the prayer, very beautiful prayer from the Mahakala Samhita. Yes. Let us continue. Chapter 18, we have to study sloka beginning from 48 up to 46, especially slokas 45 and 46. In those two slokas, Bhagavan Sri Krishna has described how everyone can reach God, each in his or her own way. No one is excluded because everybody's birthright is divine. Essentially, everyone is divine, and the divinity, inherent quality in everyone, unchangeable. It has always been there. It never came into existence, never got out of existence. That's the ultimate truth. The truth can be realized by anyone at all, regardless of any other qualification. But one has to have commitment to know. One should have desire to know that one. Mumukshutvam must be there. So in the previous section, dealing with the four categories of people in any society, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaidyas, and Shudras, their functions in society were described. And then in sloka 45, 46, 47, 46 also, the Lord said every one of these people belonging to any of these four categories can all reach the goal of human life, God realization, or self-knowledge or devotion, everyone without exception, by just following their own dharma, swadharma, doing it as worship. Whatever work you do, if you do it as worship, then you will achieve siddhi. That was what the Lord said in sloka number 46. 46, the Lord said, that ultimate reality from whom the whole universe and all the beings have emanated. Yata pravrittir bhutanam. Pravritti means beginning, originating from whom all the beings in all of creation. Yena sarvamidam tatam, by whom this whole universe is pervaded. There is no being, no place where Lord is not, God is not. Swakarmana tamabhyarcha, worshipping that divinity by doing one's own work, swakarma, whatever it be, as worship, manavaha siddhim vindati, a human being achieves perfection. The word siddhi or samsiddhi has come before in the 3rd chapter. In one place, the commentator Shankaracharya described siddhi as moksha, liberation. In another place, in a couple of other places, the commentator Sri Shankaracharya has described siddhi as purification of the mind and making the mind eligible for self-inquiry. For self-inquiry, who am I? To know who I really am, to conduct that inquiry and reach the correct conclusion that I am the divine, and to experience it, one needs to have certain qualifications. The qualifications consist of purity of mind, no distractions, all the impurities such as lust, anger, greed, etc. They all should have been given up, and the mind is calm and pure. Then self-inquiry becomes possible, pure devotion becomes possible. If the mind is impure, then neither devotion is possible, nor self-inquiry, atma-jnana, self-knowledge is possible. So that is the requirement. How do we achieve that purification of the mind? Many different things can be done. We are familiar with many of them. purification of the mind by practicing moral purity, not telling lies, not cheating, not stealing, not gathering things, all those things. Other things like holy company, pilgrimage, study of scriptures, prayer, japa, meditation, all these things purify the mind. But the simplest thing that everybody can do is to do one's own work. Everybody has some duty to do. By doing their own duty as worship, one can achieve purity of mind, which is essential for self-knowledge or for pure devotion. That way, everyone, regardless of what kind of work they do, what function they do, they can all reach God by doing their own work as if it is worship as worship. So karmana tamabhyarchya siddhim vindati ma namaha. That was sloka number 46, very important one. Then, since that is the case, there is no need for people to change their line of work. If somebody is a clerk in the office or a salesperson in a teller in a bank or something like that, that person does not have to change that profession and start studying Vedas and Upanishads and become a Vedic scholar. Not necessary to realize God. By doing one's own work as worship, one can achieve God realization, self-knowledge, pure devotion, everything can be achieved. Therefore, there is no need to feel, oh, my work is not such important. I'm an only janitor, and there is a president in the company, vice president are there. That feeling need not be there. Everybody's function, as we saw, is essential, important part of society. There are several examples. One example that comes to my mind is the story of Rasika. He was a janitor in the Dakshineshwar Kali temple area. Before we do that, let us do sloka number 48. Then it's more appropriate to tell the story at that time. So we go to sloka 48, which we have to do now. Sahajam karma kaunteya sadoshamapi na tyajet sarvarambha hi doshena thume nagnirivavrita. Sahajam karma means, sahaja means also nature. How is our nature formed? We all have our individual nature, personality, characteristics. How is it formed? By our own previous actions, thoughts, and deeds. We have made ourselves what we are now. And because of this, the character, personality that we have made ourselves to be at this present moment, we have certain natural inclinations to do certain type of work. People choose their profession, even when they are very young, because they gravitate towards certain professions. Some person wants to become a businessman, start a company. Some person wants to go join the Air Force and be an Air Force pilot. Some person wants to go from management, does MBA. Everybody chooses what they want to do depending upon their inclinations, inherent inclinations, sahaja. Sahajam karma kaunteya, whatever be one's duty, sahajam karma, whatever one's duty is at this moment, they need not feel bad about it because it is not a glamorous line of work. That we studied in the 10th verse of this chapter 18. The Lord had already said there is no work that is unpleasant. Even if it is unpleasant, should be done with reverence. Everything has a place in society. There, 10th sloka in 18th chapter, Bhagavan said one should not despise one's work, because other people think it is not glamorous. There he said, Akushale nadveshti akushalam karma kushale nanushajjate nadveshti akushalam karma kushale nanushajjate 1810. So if the work is unpleasant, akushalam karma, like sweeping the floor, cooking, cleaning, doing laundry, or working in a laundromat, or whatever the nature of work, people think there is no glamour in it. The pay is low and unpleasant work. Though they need not be despised. Kushale karmani namashajjati. If the work is pleasant, agreeable, brings lot of rewards and publicity, people say what a great you are doing, praise will come, then one should not become attached to it. Na anushajjati. Whatever be one's work, that has to be done as worship. That is all. There, one person's mind becomes pure thereby, and purity of mind is essential prerequisite for their pure devotion, for self-knowledge, for moksha, liberation, Lord realization. All those things require purity of mind. That can be achieved by doing one's own duty with diligence and reverence. That is in sloka 48. Sudaushamapi. If one's duty is full of a defect, some defect, there is no duty which is ideal, perfect. There is no perfect work. Every work, however glamorous it may appear from the outside, involves certain unpleasant aspects. If you become the President of the United States, you think it is all nice and pleasant and easy. Only that person knows the problem, the difficulties there. From the outside, in the Oval Office, looks very great. All the security and Secret Service and so many staff and White House, everything looks nice and glamorous. But it's only some people who want to have that, have the ability, qualification, they may go. But when they go, they know the problems inherent in that situation. From outside, it looks very great. So that is not, there should not be the consideration for one's choice of work. Sahajam karma, whatever one karma comes in naturally by one's own inclination, that karma should be pursued. Sadoshamapi, even if it has some negative aspect, there is no work which has no negative aspect. There is no such job in the world that does not have some negative aspect. Everything has some good things, some bad things. So there is no need to feel bad, not need to change one's profession to realize God. Sadoshamapi natyajit. One should not give up one's duty. Natyajit should not give up one's duty, even if it is unpleasant. Every work has some unpleasantness attached to it. Sometimes it is visible, sometimes only the pleasant aspect is visible from the outside. Sarvarambha hi doshena dhumena agnireva avrata. Arambha means work, that which we begin to do. All work is connected, has some negative aspect to it. Doshena avrataha arambha. He gives an example. Just like fire is surrounded by, enveloped by smoke. When we set up this, say, light of to warmth in the fireplace in winter time in your drawing room, you set up the fireplace, whether it is coal burning or not coal, but generally wood or gas. It produces some smoke, so especially wood burning stove, fireplace. So you can't have the fire without the smoke. If you set up a fire, smoke will be there. In the same way, all work, no matter how glamorous it may appear from the outside, is inevitably associated with some negative aspect, which may not be visible. It looks glamorous from the outside. But no such work which is free from some negative aspect. Just what the Lord says. Sarvarambha doshena dhumen agniriva avrataha. Just like fire is always invariably enveloped by smoke, in the same way, all kinds of work, all lines of work, all work is inevitably associated with some negative aspect, which may or may not be visible from the outside. Therefore, there is no need to change. If you change your line, you go to new profession, then you discover, oh, that was better. This is even worse than what I. From the outside, it looks very good. So just stick to your own profession, do it as worship, you reach God. Vedanta is very simple. You don't have to do anything great or big. Just your own work, whatever it is, as worship, and without attachment to karma phala, as we saw before, or as offering, everything as a servant, service, as an offering, as a servant, as a service, With these attitudes, if we do our work, mind becomes pure, we become unselfish, attachment will go away. Then when the mind becomes pure, spiritual progress happens very rapidly. So that is the message in this part of the Gita. So an example, I was going to say Risika's example. In Dakshineshwar compound, Kali temple complex, there was a janitor, name was Rasika. Janitor those days didn't have any education. Maybe his father was a janitor, he became a janitor, nothing else, didn't know what else to do. Probably, we don't know. And his duty was unpleasant, sweeping the floor. Visitors, those who went there for picnic, they would throw all kinds of trash. And then it was his duty to sweep and clean and keep the grounds clean. And he was watching that in Sri Ramakrishna, many devotees used to go to Sri Ramakrishna's room in the Kali temple. There will be singing and dancing. He would hear from outside, because could not go there because he's a janitor. And he was feeling bad. Oh, all those learned people, scholars from city, they go to meet this Mahatma, they get his blessings. I don't have that opportunity. I'm such a wretched person like this. He was feeling bad. So it went on for some time, but he was watching every day. Sri Ramakrishna used to go to the Panchavati side for meditation or to other area for natural call of nature. He would go and come back. He would see the Mahatma and he would not dare approach him because he's only a janitor. So one day what happened, this Rasika became drunk, drank a lot of alcohol, and he was lying there on the Dakshineshwara grounds. Sri Ramakrishna was walking that way. Then I asked him, hey, why did you drink so much? You are intoxicated. Then Rasika is a very innocent man. He says, oh, sir, Thakur, somebody's mother died. And they asked me to go and do some cleaning up. So I did that one. They gave me some money. With that money, I drank every day. Nobody's mother dies. I don't get money every day to drink. I just start some money, I drank. Then Sri Ramakrishna said, don't drink that much. That was the instruction he gave, and then he went away. So several days passed. Then this Risika was feeling, he had hunger for blessing of the Mahatma. He was hungry. He wanted to get the blessings of Sri Ramakrishna, but he could not go to his room. So one day, Sri Ramakrishna was walking there alone. So Rasika, he said, oh, this is my opportunity. He went and fell down at his feet. Rasika fell at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna, full prostration, and with tears in his eyes cried, oh Thakur, I'm such an unfortunate man. I don't have anything. What will happen to me? Baba, my Kihove, like that. He prayed and cried. Sri Ramakrishna blessed him. He said, don't worry. When you finish your work, go home and keep some tulsi plants in front of your place where you live. And whenever you have time, go and sit near the tulsi plant and repeat God's name. That's all you have to do. And that man, very simple instruction, he followed that one. He got some tulsi plants in front of his house, and every time, whenever he had time, he would go and sit down there and repeat God's name. And would do his janitorial work during the day. So in the meantime, Sri Ramakrishna passed away, and Rasika retired from his job, went to his home, a cottage, whatever he was living. Tulsi plants, he would pray there every day. In the course of time, he became sick. Old age came, sickness came. He lay down in his house inside because he could not get up. And on one day, he knew it was his last day. So he asked his wife and sons to take his bed and put his bed outside in front of his cottage near the tulsi plants. And they said, you have to stay indoors. Why do you want to go out? No, I want to go there. Just put my bed there. So they put his bed and he went on, laid down there near the tulsi plant, repeating God's name. And then his time of death came, and repeating God's name as told by Sri Ramakrishna. At that time, this Rasika had a vision. He calls his wife. See, Thakur has come, please bring an asana. He's standing there, please bring an asana. How long can he be standing there, sitting? He's standing there, please bring an asana for him. They thought he was delirious, saying something incoherent. Who is coming to nobody? They did not say anybody. This person has become delirious and saying something therein too. But then he insisted, please bring an asana. How many times I should say bring? He's standing there waiting. So they brought the asana and then he said, so sit down. And after some time, he left the body. Sri Ramakrishna came, took him to this divine abode. He got liberation by just doing his own janitorial work with devotion, repeating God's name. They didn't have to change any profession or anything. The story illustrates that no matter what kind of work a person does for a living, if that work is done as worship with devotion, without attachment to fruits of work, not seeking fame and glory, that person's mind will become pure and here she can reach God. Now, such stories are, so many stories, such stories are there in our scriptures. In the Mahabharata, there is a very famous episode, Dharmavyada story. If you please read one chapter in Swamiji's Karma Yoga book, Swamiji's book on Karma Yoga, there are 8 chapters. There's one chapter called Each is Great in His Own Place. That's the title of the chapter. Each is great in his own place. There, the Dharmavada story narrated by Swamiji in a condensed form. It's a long story in the Mahabharata, several chapters. Briefly, the story is, before the story, the point of the story is, no matter what line of work a person does, householder, a lady without any education, cooking, cleaning, taking care of husband and children, or a Vyada, a person who sells meat, nothing glamorous about it. All of those people can achieve God realization and self-knowledge only if they do their own work, pleasant or unpleasant, as if it is worship. That's only requirement. How they got? So in the town there was a butcher. His job was to sell the meat. That was a profession, unpleasant, but that was his job. He was doing it every day nicely, and he was taking care of his parents at home, old parents. There was a sannyasi, young man. He took sannyas. He thought, I will realize God faster than the householders. So he went to the forest, started meditating there, sitting under a tree. After some days, he got some powers, meditation, concentration he practiced, and he felt something special power. So once he was meditating under a tree, 2 birds were fighting on the branch above his head, and they were fighting with each other, and some feathers and everything fell on his head. And he looked up, he became very angry. I'm meditating, you guys are disturbing me. He cursed the birds, poor, but they didn't know anything. They were just... So when he cursed them, they both fell down dead. His anger was so powerful. So he became even more proud. I can have this power now. With that pride in his mind, he went for begging. You have to beg for food. So he stood in front of a house. The door was open, only then you can beg. If the door is closed, you cannot. You have to go to a next door where door is open. Stood in front of a house with door open and asked for bhiksha. And no one came. From inside the house, he heard a voice. Lady was calling out, oh, sannyasi, please wait for a few minutes. I'm serving my husband. I will come and give you bhiksha. Please wait. He became upset. I am the sannyasi. I should be served first. She's making me wait. What kind of lady is this? He became angry. But the lady didn't come out. She was serving her husband, feeding him or something. She called her from it. Oh, sannyasi, don't become angry and upset. I'm not the birds in the forest. She said like that. Oh, this sannyasi became astounded. How did she know about the birds in the forest? Nobody knows. How did the lady know? Then he stands there. Let us see. After some time, the Mataji comes and gives him food. And sannyasi asks her, mother, how did you know about the birds? Something that happened in the forest, no one was there. How did you know? The lady said, see, I'm a householder. I don't have an education. I'm a lady cooking, cleaning, serving, taking care of my family. But how did you know? If you want to know, she says, there is a other butcher, meat seller in this town on such and such a street. You go there, he will tell you. And this sannyasi became surprised. Why should I go to a meat seller? How can he give me knowledge? And she said, no, you go and ask him. So he went to the meat seller, the sannyasi. As was approaching, the meat seller called out to him, oh, sannyasi, did that lady send you here? Please come have a seat. I'm serving the customers. The sannyasi became surprised. How did this man know about the lady? There were no cell phone, nothing, no email, nothing, no texting. But he sat down there. What is the curious thing? I'm meditating. I don't have knowledge. These people have knowledge. So after serving the customers, Devyada took the sannyasi to his home and served his parents and served the sannyasi. And the sannyasi asks him, how did you know that the lady has sent me to you? And the lady also knew something about the birth, but no one knew. How do you people know all these things? I'm meditating in the forest. I don't have self-knowledge. How do you know? Then his Vyada answers his question. See, essentially what he said is 1846. He didn't study Gita or anything. He said, by doing my own work, even it is full of defects. There's nothing glamorous about cutting meat and selling, but it is my profession. I make money that way and serve my parents. And by doing one's own duty as if it is worship, one can get everything, self-knowledge, devotion, everything will come. It's a long story. So many questions answered, big conversation, several chapters are there. But the essential part of the story is this much. Swami Vivekananda tells the story in that chapter, in his Karma Yoga book. That means every person, regardless of who he or she is, regardless of what kind of work he or she does, can realize God is great in his own place. Does not have to give up one's job if it is not glamorous, do something more glamorous, not necessary. Stay where you are, your duty as if it is worship, no attachment to karma phala. Gradually, knowledge will come, mind becomes pure, everything will come. That is the important message in this part of the Gita. So that is what makes everyone eligible for liberation. There is no special favor for Brahmanas because they study Vedas and do the worship and can talk about Vedanta. One does not have to become that one. Whatever one's profession is, everybody can reach the ultimate goal of human life. That is the message of Bhagavad Gita. Very important message. That's how harmony was maintained in the society. So some time along the way, down the road, the question of privilege came. Somebody like Brahmana became proud because I know the Vedas, I can study, and the kings used to respect them, give them money to the scholars. So everybody wanted to be, not necessary. Wherever you are, whatever you are, like Risika and this Dakshineshwar story, or the Dharma Vyada and the Mahabharata story, the housewife, mother, homemaker, everybody can reach the goal of life by doing their own work as worship. So karmana tamabhyarcha siddhim vindati manavaha. No, that is sloka number 48. The long commentary on this one. All kinds of discussions about what Buddhism says, what Vaishashika says, Sankhya, not necessary. Message is very simple. Now, the next question in 49, thank you, is how can one become free from all work? Naishkarmya Siddhi, the term Naishkarmya Siddhi is used here, and there is also a book with the same title, Naishkarmya Siddhi. Siddhi means perfection, karma means work, Naishkarmya Siddhi means perfection in becoming free from all work. It's physically not possible. We have to do some work. At least we have to eat, if not anything else. If you don't have to go to work, earn a living, get salary, you have to eat, breathe, and drink water and sleep. These are all work. So the body maintenance activity cannot and need not be given up. Sharira yatra pichate na prasiddheda karmana. Chapter 3, sloka 5. All activities, body maintenance activities cannot be given up. You have to do it, maintain the body, precious gift from God. With the body, we can realize God. The body itself is imperfect. A lot of problems are there. Mind is also not a perfect instrument. It can go wrong. So many bad thoughts can come. But using these imperfect tools, body and the mind, we can reach perfection. That's the beauty of the message of Vedanta. The tools are not perfect. Body, mind, and sense organ, they are the tools, mind especially. But these imperfect tools, if we use them properly, they can help us to reach perfection. Be ye perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. The Holy Bible says. We can reach God, we can reach perfection by using these instruments, body, mind, sense organs, which are themselves imperfect. They can go wrong. So many things can go wrong in the body and the mind. That is the beauty of Vedanta. That's where karma comes into play. Except very rare people, most people have to do karma. And how to become free from karma, this really translates into how to become free from kartritvam, the notion that I am the doer. All karma cannot be given up. It's a physiological impossibility. Some Sharira yatra karma has to be done. Body maintenance work has to be done. But how can one become free from the notion that I am the doer? It is possible for everybody to achieve that Naishkramya Siddhi. Naishkramya Siddhi means giving up the notion that I am the doer of work. To say that I am the karta, main karta hoon, who says that one, ahankara vimodhatma. Only an uninformed person who cannot think deeply always says, I am the doer, I did this, I do that, I'm the doer, I am the doer, I did this, I did this. Somebody says that that person is not thinking deeply. This was very clearly told in 327, chapter 3, sloka 27, by Bhagavan Sri Krishna. A foolish, he uses the strong word, vimodhatma, ahankara vimodhatma, kartahamite manyate. A foolish and egotistic person says, I am the doer of work. Yet the notion of kartritvam and the doer is there. But work is happening through his body. How can he say that you are not doing any work? That is explained in chapter 5, sloka 8 and 9. A jnani does all kinds of work. Same kind of work that a jnani does. Jnani also eats, ajnanis eat. Jnani drinks water, ajnanis drink water. Jnani can do some work in the kitchen, like Ramana Rishi used to do work in the kitchen. Ajnanis also work in the kitchen. Work is same. While the jnani performs all those work duties, he maintains the position and not the doer. Naham nakarta, he says. But the jnani says, I am the doer. There's big difference there. How can a person become free from this notion of doership? How to give up kartritvam, kartapan? That is possible. Everybody can do that one, but it's not so easy. Let us see how it becomes. 1449. Asakta buddhi sarvatra jitatma vigataspraha naishkarmya siddhim paramam sanyasena adhigacchati. For a person to become free from the notion of doership, to give up kartritvam, notion that I am the doer, that person must have transcended body consciousness and must have experienced self-knowledge. If a person says, I am not the body mind, I am the Atman, the body mind will do the work. He says, I am the Atman, I have no activity. Atman is pure consciousness. How can do activity? Activity, karma requires three things: doer and object of action and action. Karta, karma, kaya, karna, all these things. Atman is above all these things. I am the Atman, no duty, no work, I'm free. Only a jnani can say that one. But those who have body consciousness, like ordinary people like us, we have to say, I'm the doer, because I have the notion I'm the doer. But how can we reach that stage of Naishkarma Siddhi? How can I become free from the notion of doership? By fulfilling the requirements in 49. Asakta buddhi sarvatra jitatma vigataspraha Naishkarma Siddhim paramam sanyasena digachati. Sanyasa means giving up attachment to work and all activities and all possessions, everything. Total detachment practice. Sanyasa means that. Essence of sannyasa is detachment, tyaga. By doing that, giving up attachment to karma phala, attachment to body, mind, sense organs, property, possession, relations, etc. Once a person realizes that he is not the body, mind, he is the Atman, for such a person, there is no karma. There is just above the domain of karma phala. Just karma siddhi will happen. To understand this one, let us read the first line again. Asakta buddhi. With a buddhi means intellect. A person whose intellect is unattached, asakta, to anything, to objects of possession, my house, my car, my body, my money, no. To relationships, my child, my wife, my husband, my cousin, no attachment to this. People in their lives, work, no attachment to karma. It's my work, I'm the doing, I'm going to get the result. No attachment to karma phala. No attachment to property, possession, no attachment to people and everything. I am the Atman. How can it be attached to anything? Atman is pure consciousness. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the sage says, Asango Hyayam Purushaha, a famous statement. This Atman, Purusha means the self, a realized person. Jnani, one who is Atma Jnanam. Such a person, Asangaha, this Atman is free from attachment. Body mind, there in the mind attachment comes. But if we rise above this body mind level, transcending body mind consciousness, you become a jnani, experience your divine nature, then there is no work. Work may happen through that person's body. For loka kalyana, for all the work jnanis do is not for themselves, for the sake of others, to help others, to show by example others how to do the work with detachment. They do work, jnanis work, not for their own benefit. There's nothing for them to gain. That will come later. Nothing for them to gain by doing something. They don't lose anything by not doing anything. They are above this one. But still they are active, busily engaged. Like Swami Vivekananda. He was a Atmajnani, Brahmajnani. What did he have to do? Nothing. Could have been there without doing anything. Happily absorbed in self-knowledge. That's what he wanted to do. Naren wanted to do exactly that one. When Sri Ramakrishna asked him, what do you want to do in life? What's your goal in life? Naren said, I want to remain absorbed in Nirvikalpa Samadhi all the time, Thakur. But once in a while, once in 2-3 days, I want to come down to the normal plane of waking state, eat some food to keep the body, and then go back to Samadhi. Like, it's the old-fashioned cuckoo clock, you remember? At the hour, the bird comes out from, and the door opens, bird comes, it chimes the number of times, 3 o'clock, 3 times, and then quickly goes back and the door shuts. So Naren wanted to be like that one, absorbed in Samadhi, Nirvikalpa Samadhi. But body has to be maintained. So once in 2-3 days, he will come to waking state, eat some food and go back to Samadhi. This is what I want to do, Naren said. But Sri Ramakrishna mildly rebuked him. You are Hina Buddhi. This is all you want to do. You are a petty-minded person. Achieving Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the guy has to go for ordinary people. For you, you have much greater role to play in life. You did not come to achieve Samadhi. You came to this world for Loka Kalyana, to help the whole world, or lift up humanity, show them their divinity. Much bigger role to play for jnanis. So that is how a jnani can become free from all activities, yet performs activity not for one's own self, but for the sake of the world. Those who are ready to receive, to inspire them, to show them the way to realization, they work very hard. Swamiji work very hard, day and night. No rest at all. The jnanis work. But they have no kartartvam. That was explained in chapter 5, sloka 8 and 9. That always comes back. in the chapter 5, sloka 8 and 9, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says how a jnani performs all the activities like any other person and still remains free from kartrutvam, no agency, no feeling that I am the doer. So let's go back to sloka 8 and 9 in chapter 5. Why you are going back? Because there the Lord has described how a jnani can be very active and at the same time not have kartrutvam, not having the feeling that I am the doer, no attachment to karma, no attachment to karma phala. So there he says, naiva kinchit karomi iti yukto to vyakto manyeta tattvavit. Tattvavit means a person who knows the truth. Tattva means that means Brahman. When he knows that ultimate truth, what does he or she say? Naiva kinchit karomi, I'm not doing anything at all. But actually he's doing a lot of work. In the next two lines, Bhagavan describes all the kinds of activity jnani does, like any other jnani. Pashyan, Shunwan, Sprishan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan, Swapan, Shwasan, Pralapan, Visrajan, Grinnan, Unmishan, Nimishan, Napi. These are all activities. Holding something, releasing something, closing the eyes, opening the eyes, eating, drinking, walking, talking. Everybody does. Jnanis do, Ajnanis do. But while a jnani does all these things, he says, Naiva kinchit karomi, I'm not doing anything at all. He says, but he's doing all these things. Onlookers see. But you ask him, how do you say you are not doing anything? You are doing all these things. You are drinking water. Then he says, I'm not drinking water. But the cup, water became cup empty. Water went into your body. How did it happen? He says, Indriyani indriyarteshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. Indriyani, sense organs, one or more, interact with indriyartha, one or more sense objects. Action is happening. Where is I? I'm neither the sense organ nor the sense object. Nor am I the mind. Mind is also a sense organ. The mind says to the hand, I want to drink some water. Hand grabs the cup and drinks the water. Body, the mouth sips the water, water goes and body takes care of the rest of the digestive process. Where is the again all of these things? Am I the mind? Am I the hand? Am I the water cup? Am I the table on which cup is there? Where is the I? An ignorant person puts the I where it does not really belong. He says, I am the body, mind, so I am drinking water. But a jnani does not do that mistake. I am the Atman. Water is taken by the body and the mind and sense organ, sense object. That's all action happens there. Indriyani, indriyarteshu vartante. I am neither indriya nor indriyartha. I am neither mind nor sense organ nor the sense object. No. This naishkarma siddhi. Freedom from work comes there. Work will not stop. That work happens only for loka sangraha, not for their own sake. All the work jnanis do is for the sake of the world, not for selfish reason. So asakta buddhi sarvatra, coming back to 49. A person who is unattached in every way, unattached to sense objects, sense organs, body, mind, relatives, work, no attachment, such a person, asakta buddhi sarvatra. Jitatma. Atma here means mind, body, and sense organs. Atma can mean all these things. Atma can mean individual soul, Atma can mean Paramatma also. But here Jitatma means, in sloka 49, one is mastered one's own mind and sense organs. That's the biggest thing. Mastering one's own mind and sense organs. Jitatma, Vigata spraha. Spraha means desire. Trishna, thirst for enjoyment, thirst for possession, property, thirst for fame. All these have to be given up. A person who has given up all this thirst for name and fame and possession, all kinds of desires have been given up. He is a jnani, he has no kartrutva. Free from, he has nashkarma siddhi, freedom from action. Nashkarma siddhim paramam sanyasena adhigacchati. So the translation is 49. He whose intellect is unattached to objects, whose self is disciplined, Vijatatma, and from whom all desires have departed. asakta buddhi, vigata spraha, all desires are departed. Such a person wins the supreme perfection of worklessness. Nashkarma siddhim adhigacchati. By means of sanyasa, renunciation. Renunciation of what? Renunciation of attachment to everything. No attachment to body, no attachment to mind, no attachment to sense organ, no attachment to sense objects, relatives, work, karma phala. Such a person becomes free from the obligation to work. Now, before we stop change the topic, I want us to go to chapter 3, and 2 slokas are there in chapter 3, very special in this context, very important slokas, 17 and 18 in chapter 3. Those 2 slokas, in those 2 slokas, chapter 3, 7, so verses 18, 19, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, how can we all become jnanis, rising above karma phala? How can I become free from karma phala? Everybody can, but what we have to do are described in 3, 17, 18. Let's go to chapter 3, this chapter 4, Sanyasa Yoga. Very important slokas. 14, 3, 17, 18. Yeah. Yastu 3:17. Yastu atmaritreva syad atmat triptascha manavaha atmanyeva cha santushtah tasya karyam na vidyate. For such a person, there is no duty, nothing to be done. He may act, he may not act. If he acts, it's for others. For himself, there is no duty. Yastu atmaritreva syad. Rati means enjoyment. Atmariti means finding happiness one's own self, not in the sense objects outside. Big difference. Ordinary people, excuse me. Ordinary people, we seek happiness in the outside world. How do we seek happiness? First of all, happiness in the body, comfortable, pleasure, enjoyment, food, etc. Happiness in possessions, nice big house and car and money. Happiness in relationships, family, husband, wife, children, grandchildren, relationships, friends. And happiness in power, position, fame, all these things. Ordinary people seek happiness. But a wise person, Sthita Prajna, does not find happiness in these things. Instead, he or she finds happiness in the self, in the Atman. That's what Sri Krishna, in the 2nd chapter, when Arjuna asked Sri Krishna, what are the signs of Sthita Prajna? This is what he says. Atmanye vatmana tushtaha Sthita Prajnastadochyate. Tushta means content, happy, in one's own self, within the self. Not trying to find happiness in the money, this what prize, other people prizes, I'll be happy, big position. This way, no, happiness is not there. Find the happiness where it really is, can be found, is present, Atman. Such a person, Atmaritihi, for such a person, Amritascha manavaha, Atma triptascha manavaha. Tripta means content with his own self, not seeking, not greedy for property, position, big house, no greed. Content within one's own self. Atmanye vacha santushtaha. One should find satisfaction in the self alone. Tasya karyam na vidyate. For such a person, what work is there? If I want to find happiness outside, then I have to work. If I want to build a big house, I have to go and make a lot of money and then build the house. If I want to be an expensive car, I have to work very hard and make a lot of money by the car. But I don't want any of those. I'm happy, completely happy within myself. More happiness than anything else in the world can give. I'm feeling within myself. Atman, God is there. From here, who else can give me more happiness than God? So I'm not reaching out to these ordinary things which other people. I find happiness in myself, in my Atman, in the God within. Devotees can say God within. Source of all happiness. Then what work is there for me? tasya karyam na vidyate. If person is ignorant of one's own divine nature, thinks he or she is the body and the mind, then all things will happen. Find happiness in the body, you have to be kept comfortable, pleasure has to be there, you have to wear good clothes and eat good food and family and job, and all those things will come. We get entangled in this world, seeking happiness where it really cannot be found, and only becoming disenchanted, as Sri Krishna says in 522. So that is 370. So for such a person, tasya karyam na vidyate, no required duty is there. He may do, not because he required to do, but because he loves to do for other people. Nice. 318, same thing. Naiva tasya kritenartho na kriteneha kaschana yachasya sarva bhuteshu kaschidarthavyapashrayah. Says, such a person has nothing to gain by doing something, nor something will be lost if he does not do anything. There's nothing that he has to do or has to refrain from doing. On no being does such a person depend regarding any interest of his own. He does not depend upon anybody to make me happy, but other people want other people in their life to make them happy. Otherwise, alone, I'm not happy. I want to have a family, then I will be happier. Children, even more happiness they will bring. Grandchildren, more happiness they will bring. You depend upon all the outside people to make us happy, then we get into a lot of trouble. That's a different story. For such a person who finds happiness within himself, no outside object is necessary. Like great sages, Sri Ramakrishna himself didn't have any property. He had only clothes, white dhotis with a red border, and had one jacket and a pair of footwear and nothing. No money. Marwadi offered him 10,000 rupees. He shunned it and he's absolutely no. So he was unhappy, no, he's absorbed in the joy of the self. Going to Samadhi, thinking about Divine Mother, what more happiness can be there than one can have in Samadhi? That is where Naishkarma Siddhi comes. No compulsion to do anything. Service will be done out of full to help other people. 1718 in chapter 3. Tasya karyam na vidyate. Now we come back to 49. We'll conclude this topic. Naishkarma Siddhi. Then next verse onwards, after reaching this stage, how can one actually proceed further to experience self-knowledge, Atma-jnana? This way, next step in that process of spiritual practice. We'll stop here. Only Jnani can give up all work. Closing prayer. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. The two things we studied today. One thing is, any work that comes to our lot because of force or dharma, regardless of what kind of work it is, by doing it as worship, we can achieve perfection. Swakarmana tamabhyarchya siddhi mendati manu. We don't have to change our job to do something else to realize God. Whatever I am doing, whatever has come to me, with that work, if I do it properly, my mind becomes pure, I can achieve devotion, I can achieve self-knowledge. Every person's work leads one person to realization. 1 point. Second is, one can become free from the notion of kartratvam, agency, doership, by practicing the disciplines. Total detachment, asakta buddhi, in 49. Jitatma, controlling mind, body, sense organs. Vigata spraha, giving up all attachment, all desires, becoming free from desires. Sanyasena, Naishkarma Siddhim adhigacchati. Such a person can become free from kartratvam, therefore no bhoktritva. Total freedom. Such a person becomes a jivan mukta, liberated, still living. So all of you stay well, and God willing, we shall see you next week.
Someone has said that when we have bhakti for God, we don't have to ask for moksha. We automatically get it. Is that
Yeah. Devotion itself is higher than moksha for devotees. They say, actually, a true bhakta does not even ask for liberation, because bhakti itself brings so much joy, more joy than liberation can bring for some others. Bhakti itself is a higher goal than moksha for the bhaktas. Like Hanuman's example I gave, and Rama asked him, what do you want? He could have asked for liberation. He said, no, I want only to listen to the chanting of your name and glory. Let give me the opportunity. Wherever name is taken, I want to be there. That gives me greater joy than liberation. Sri Ramakrishna said same thing to Divine Mother. Oh, Divine Mother, is Brahmajnana. You give to those who are seeking for a moon. You only want to be a child playing on your lap, for a 5-year-old child. Maybe I am less spiritual, you always meet Divine Mother. That relationship is far more satisfying than being absorbed in Brahman consciousness. So true devotees don't even ask for moksha. They're happy with devotion. Devotion brings them much greater happiness than moksha can bring, according to bhaktas. But Jnanis seek moksha. Beyond body, mind, no birth, no rebirth, no nothing like that.
But if you are a devotee, a bhakta, you get automatically moksha. That means no more birth and death cycle.
If they want, they will get moksha. Divine Mother will give you moksha if you want. She'll give you self-knowledge if you want. Sri Ramakrishna said, if you get pure devotion, you get Atmajnana, you get liberation, whatever you want. But some people don't want that one. They want to be bhaktas only, devotion only. That's your choice.
No, what I'm saying is, moksha meaning no more birth and death cycle, or just
that is freedom from cycle of birth and death, liberation. Some people want that one. They don't want to be reborn.
Right.
But devotees don't mind being reborn. Mama janmani janmani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in this and all the future births also, may I have devotion to you? Ahitaki bhakti bhavatat. So if you give me devotion, I don't mind being born again as many times as you want. That is bhakta's position. They are not afraid of rebirth. They say, it's okay, if I have devotion, even if you give an animal body, if you give me devotion, I'll be happy with that one. Some devotees say. That's one way. You decide which one you want. You want freedom from rebirth or you want devotion. You can get both.
You cannot get both?
You can get both. You can stop this birth and have devotion as long as you are there. Then emerge in God. Human beings have enormous, infinite potential. But we have to do our sadhana. Then you get whatever you want.
Thank you. Kumarji has a question. Kumarji.
Yeah, Swamiji, question on, a good lesson that we learned today, that we don't need to change our jobs or do something different than what we are doing, right, to realize our self-realization. The story of the janitor is very inspiring, but I do have a question. How do we really know he reached the divine? How do we know that?
By doing your own karma is worship?
No, how do we know?
How do we know? Decide.
How do you know Rasika really achieved that? Yeah.
Okay. Because Sri Ramakrishna appeared to him at the time of death and granted him liberation. That will happen if you want that one. If you want to have experience liberation through devotion, we chant his name and do our duty as seva, as worship, then he will grant us moksha or bhakti, whatever we choose. Those who have reached that goal, they're telling us, if you do this, this, and this, you will reach liberation. That's what the scriptures say. This all Gita is saying all that, do this, and you will reach God. So that's how we have
Ramakrishna
to
appear in person?
Pardon me?
Did Ramakrishna appear in person?
Yes.
In front of the person? That's
what the story says.
Okay.
You read about Rasika, it is there. He appeared in person to many people. Rasika, the janitor, and also to Kalipada Ghosh, He extracted promise from Sri Ramakrishna, the Kalipada Ghosh. Unless you promise it will come and guide me on at the time of death, holding my hand, I will not leave your feet, he said in the boat. Remember the story?
Yeah.
So that
Okay, thank you.
So how do we know that these things are all true? That's a good question. How do you know? There are several things that help us to develop conviction in these things. One is the Shruti Pramana, first word. Shruti means Upanishad. What the Upanishad says, that there is only one reality called Brahman, and we are all that one, and we can reach that one. That is the truth, Shruti Pramana, because it's not all scriptures. Puranas and Smriti Grantha, they contain information which is changeable from time to time, Yuga Dharma. One. Second thing is Aptavakya Pramana, Seta Pramana. Those people who have gone through this experience, who followed this instruction, they say, we reached the goal, we did this, this, and this, and if you do these things, you will also reach the goal. They're saying that. And who are those people who are saying that one? Not any ordinary person. Great sages like Prahlada, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Ramakrishna, all those people, and so many other saints, the Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, all those people, they achieved liberation, and then they say, this is how we reached it. And you, by doing this, you will also reach this from them. So in their words, we have faith. All of them cannot be telling the lies. They are separated by centuries and continents. Independently, they all came to the same conclusion by following this path, either path of bhakti or karma or jnana yoga or whatever, you will reach the goal. So that we keep hearing from so many saints, separated by centuries. So in their words, what they say must be true. That conviction will slowly come to us. All this is explained in one verse in the Viveka Chodamani. How do we get the conviction that if you do these things, we reach liberation? So there, Shankara says, for a seeker of self-knowledge or liberation or moksha or mukti or bhakti, one thing is necessary, a beginning level conviction that if I follow the instructions of an illumined teacher, not everybody who can give a lecture cannot be a teacher. One will have the experience of God realization. What are these signs? How do you know such a person? Description in the Bhagavad Gita. Description of a bhakta, description of a brahmajnani, description of a Chittaprajna, all there. If a person has those qualities, then he is a liberated man. By emulating that person, following that person's instruction, I can also reach the goal that he has reached. That way you have to develop conviction. Shastrasya, Guruvakyasya, Satyabuddhyavadharana. That's the definition of Shraddha. Shastra means Upanishad. Guruvakya means the words of illumined teachers. Those who have experienced it. They reach the goal by doing certain things, and they're telling us, this is how we can reach the goal. We're following their instruction, we can also reach the same.
But Swamiji, sorry.
No, I just wanted to thank Swamiji. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Swamiji, at the same time, Krishna says that once you have gone to the ocean, like a doll made of salt, and it's dissolved, and he or she doesn't come back.
Yeah, you can't come back and explain.
Right. So therefore, it is, I understand your reasoning, and they have really felt it, like Sankara, Chaitanya Prabhu, and all these great saints, Ramana.
Yeah.
So we have to take their words because they have pursued this. But
those people,
not
many, a few people who is ordained by the divine to come back and teach humanity. All those people reach your Nilakala Samadhi, the one-way traffic, they will not come back. Gita says that one. Yadgatva nanivartante taddhama paramam mama in chapter 15. All those people who reach liberation, they will not come back. As you said, once they reach the ocean, they will dissolve in the ocean, become one with the ocean. This salt cannot come back and say how deep the ocean is. But only a few special souls, they are so ordained by the divine, by God, to come back and inform and guide the remaining seekers. Those are Mahapurushas, Nitya Siddhas. Incarnations, God himself comes in human form to teach people how to reach liberation, how to get bhakti. And great saints like Shuka, Narada Maharshi, Shankaracharya, they all achieved Nirvikalpa Samadhi, came back and continued teaching those who are ready to receive their instruction. Those who are ready will catch it. Those who are not ready, they will not benefit. Just like the unfurling the sail. If you are in a lake, big lake, like Lake Michigan, if you are a sailboat, those who open the sail, unfurl the sail, catch the breeze and boat moves. Those who keep the sail closed, rolled up, they are in the lake, breeze is there, but nothing happens. So our readiness, if I am ready for devotion or self-knowledge, then I become receptive to the teachings of those great saints. Then I welcome them. I with great interest will study. What did they say? What did they do? I also want to do that one. That interest will come. And it comes at different stages in life for different people. For some, it comes very early, young children, young boys joining the ashrama. When they are teenagers, they join the ashrama. For some people, it comes later in life. For some, it comes in next life. So it depends upon each person's hunger. How hungry are you? If you are very hungry, you want the food right now, then you will find a teacher, follow the instructions, reach the goals in this life rapidly. Not very hungry, then slowly you take the scenic route. You can take the scenic route or you can the fastest route. If I am traveling by road from Washington to Raleigh, North Carolina, if I am in a hurry, I can just go straight and make only one brief rest stop. Or if I am interested in traveling, every I see says on 95 South, I see some attractions, blue sign is there, and you go there. Some amusement park is there, spend some time there, and stop in the McDonald's for tea or coffee, and then drive another 1 hour, and some another rest area comes, some shopping center, you go there, you can reach slowly, but it's the hurry. So it depends upon us. If you're really hungry for God, so much mumukshatam that you don't want to waste even one day, moment in useless activity, then indulge, plunge into a serious spiritual practice, you reach the goal. Otherwise, take the scenic road. That's also okay, you'll reach the goal. Depends upon how hungry each person is.
So we are like people that you are going through the scenic routes, Swamiji.
We are not really that much. We have some more hunger than that. That's why we are doing this class and everything, studying. Some people have take deeksha and repeat mantra.
Yes.
Not really that slow.
I have taken, yes.
But we are not like Sri Ramakrishna, who used to roll on the ground. Oh, mother, one more day has gone, and you have not revealed yourself to me like that. It is a somewhere very, very close. We're fortunate. We're all fortunate to be even doing this one. God's grace. By God's grace, this hunger comes by God's grace. It is He, the Lord, who puts this hunger in our heart. So we have to pray for His grace. Everything will happen by His grace.
Pranam Swamiji, this is Padma. I have a question.
Yes.
So can you help me understand this? Moksha and liberation, is it same? That's how I understood. Moksha and liberation is same and God realization is different. How are they different?
There are different ways, different experience of different saints. God realization means realizing that I'm a devotee of God, to the path of devotion. God is the highest thing, most adorable thing, and I'm devoted to Him. That devotion brings me great joy. That is the path of bhakti, and they have different levels of liberation. Whereas Jnanis have only one. You, the body, mind, you are the Atman, you become one with the ocean, that's it. There's no second degrees or stages there. That liberation, according to Jnanis, only one thing, one event. The river merges into the ocean, becomes the ocean, there is no more river there. But for bhaktas, it's a different thing, more enjoyable. They have 4 different levels of liberation, 4 or 5. First is salokya. Loka means the world. Devotees of Vishnu, they want to go to Vaikuntha. Vishnu is there. The same loka where Vishnu is there, Vaikuntha, I also want to go there and live in Vaikuntha. I am in the same loka as Vishnu. Salokya. That's very close to God. One stage of liberation. And you're still a separate person there in Vaikuntha. And then next stage is you are in the outskirts of Vaikuntha. When you enter, devotion become deeper, you go to Samipa, Samipya. You go to the inner compartments where the Lord can be seen. From the outer gate, near the outer gate, you are in the Vaikuntha, but you don't see him. And then, so I used to work in a government office many years ago. We had one chief boss, and he was the boss of my boss's superior's superior, 2-3 levels higher. In 4 years, I have only one glimpse I got. Not directly, face to face. He was walking from the outside of the office to his car. Then I saw he's our chief boss. Only once I saw. That's Salokya. I was in the same office I'm working, he's there, but I didn't get to see him except for a few seconds. That was not face-to-face meeting. I just saw him. Oh, he's our boss like that. But only once. That is Salokya. Samipya means getting closer to God. Go very close to Vishnu there. You do him Kainkarya, personal service to him. And then Sarupya, you also become like him. And then finally Sayujya, you merge in him. That complete merger, giving up the river merges in the ocean. There's no more river there. Only ocean remains. The river becomes the ocean. It does not remain a separate river in the ocean. It becomes one with the entire ocean. It becomes, giving up its limited identity as one river. I become the ocean, one with. That is mukti, liberation, final liberation. That is Sayujya. That is what the Jnanis also want. They don't want individual being. I am Brahman. Brahman is only one, not many Brahmans. Infinite, eternal, I am that. So it depends upon the different views about liberation. There's not one fixed thing.
So all those 5 things or 4 things, they're all considered as God realization?
Yeah. God
They're
is a
all-
general term. God realization, Sri Ramakrishna says in his teachings, God can be seen and we can have conversation with God as we are talking to each other. He said, you can talk to God as I'm talking to you. He said to his devotees. So that is also still you are separate from God, but you can see God's form. You can have communion with the Lord and you're still separate. That's one kind of God realization. I don't have experience of any of this. So I'm just reading, telling you by reading what I read. Speaking from experience is the much different thing. But now only what you have the source of knowledge, I also have the same source of knowledge, nothing special.
So at the time of death, if one person is so elevated, then they get to choose which level, or by the devotion, by the bhakti of the level of bhakti that they have performed the whole life, somehow
Whatever
automatically
performed the
your
whole
destiny.
life. What happens at the moment of death depends upon what you have done almost all our life. The last moment you cannot change because we are not, we don't know in what condition we will be. If you can remember God in our minds, even if you cannot say it aloud at the time of death, that is enough.
So it is destined, or we get to choose at the end?
Destiny or self-choice. It depends. It can be both.
Okay.
It's
Thank
again a tricky question. Self-effort or God's grace. It's combination of both. Self-effort becomes possible by God's grace. And then we can invoke God's grace by self-effort. So first step is ours always. First step I have to take towards God. Then he will take 10 steps towards me. That's what I have read in Swami Vivekananda's letters. He said from experience, he was saying that one. So that first step is my responsibility. Sri Ramakrishna explains this first step in this way. Mother is busy cooking. And she has a child, a toddler. She has given a lot of toys to the child to play with. The child is playing with the toys. Mother is watching from the kitchen. And the baby is happy playing with the toys. And she will say, let the child play as long as he wants. But at certain point, the child becomes tired with the play. He pushes all the toys aside. He wants mother. Oh, mom, like this, you start crying.
Mm.
And the baby starts crying, then she will stop what she's doing and comes and take baby in her lap and feeds it and comforts it. So that crying has to happen. You should cry for God, as Sri Ramakrishna says. If I'm happy with life, job and money, family, possessions, power, being a Swami, very good itself, then some people will say, oh, I'm become a Swami, that's the goal is reached. No, that means I'm still playing with the toys of Sanyasa. This is also a toy, becoming a Swami. If I'm satisfied, then I can just reach my goal, I become a Swami. But I must cry. I want only God, nothing else. That in that Vyakulata, Sri Ramakrishna calls it Vyakulata. If you have that Vyakulata, intense yearning to know God, she will give up. Divine Mother will stop and she will come and take me in my arms and say, what do you want? Comfort. That liberation, whatever you want, she will give. But I must take the first step. I must cry. I must have expressed my intense longing to God. That's where my self-effort is required. When she has that, then grace is assured.
Yeah, a lot of different philosophies, they say that love, devotion, and bhakti is the easiest one, and I believe that too. But just a curiosity question: the other three paths, they don't lead people to God realization. Even though I believe in bhakti, just curiously asking, the other three paths, they don't lead to God realization, Swamiji.
Jnanis are not seeking God realization. They are seeking Brahma Jnana, self-knowledge. I want to, my true nature is Brahman, I am Brahman, I want to experience it. They don't bring God into the picture. God means personal God. See, there are some people within Hinduism, they don't worship personal God. They want self-realization. I am Atman, I want to experience my nature. That's Jnani's path. But devotees want personal God. And they have a preferred form, Ishtadevata. So they worship that one. So it depends upon what we are seeking. That depends on our inner tendencies, sahaja. For some, the devotion comes naturally. They don't have to struggle. For them, path of knowledge is very difficult, very dry. Oh, Brahman, I don't know what it is. Pure consciousness, who understands all those things. I want God. God makes sense. Personality is there. Love is there. Devotion, worship, and God's grace, everything nice. Something that I can really relate to, bhaktas. But everybody's path is different. It comes from their innermost yearning. Our innermost nature, sabhava, that propels us in that direction. Path of knowledge or bhakti or karma yoga or raja yoga, Patanjali's. We gravitate to those paths guided by our own, propelled by our own samskaras. Many paths are there, and we choose the path which comes to us naturally, and there we seek God's grace, blessings, and it will happen.
Okay. Thank you, Swamiji.
Okay, very good. Now it's 3:30. All of you stay well.
Yeah, Pranam Swamiji.
Pranam.